Well, one of those times again when the world seems to be going crazy and politics seem to be taking over our lives and all sorts of mad stuff seems to be happening. Time for us to have a look at what's happening for us all in the month ahead. To start, we need to just make some comment on what's happening politically and in South Africa at the moment, because of course that's part of the unfolding of the hectic political sagas that have been happening on and off throughout the year. If you've been listening throughout the year, you will remember me saying that those born around the 12th of April are most challenged and are going through the biggest changes this year than they will have in 84 years. Not that all of us live that young. And of course, Jacob Zuma and Gordhan are both born on the 12th of April. So astrology depicts these two powerful Aries people, and of course, as we all know, at loggerheads with each other, the war between the two Aries. Now, both going through an enormous amount of changes at the same time, and because they are both born on the same day, it's very difficult for the astrologer to figure out which one is going to lose their job and which one's going to stay. If we knew their birth times, we'd be able to answer that question a little bit more easily. This is what we can say. The battle continues, and this is a fight to the finish. At the end of this long 12th of April battle, only one of those warriors will be left standing. It's hard to say who it is, but the chart suggests that Zuma at the moment is in a more powerful position. The changes are coming to a head in late October, early November, where we might see some significant developments in the story of Zuma's job or Gordhan's job, and whether or not anything changes at that time, it leads to the culmination of this series of events happening around February, March of next year. As it stands at the moment, the odds are still against Gordhan and for Jacob Zuma, but as you can hear, this is a little bit of a barrier between two warriors, and sometimes you've got to worry, who's going to win? Does anyone win when two warriors are kind of fighting to the death? And that's what we as South Africans need to be concerned about. We've got war within the government that's been described so aptly by Trevor Manuel and other government ministers. And if you think about it, the Aries is the warrior. They're both born on the same day. They are essentially opposed, and that's the war between the governments. So in a war like that, does anyone win? It does look like even if President Zuma does survive the November to March configurations, 2018 will come back and haunt. So there's still some unfinished business that just won't go away. And that's why in the long run, neither of these men are going to benefit from the cycles that are going on right now. There was an eclipse this week, you may know, and that eclipse, which was visible here in South Africa and in Africa, falls heavily on South Africa's economic chart. And so we do have to worry very seriously about a ratings downgrade in the near future, or damage to our economy or our rand. So there's still a heavy shadow hanging over us for much of the balance of this year. We've got to try and hang in there and move forward, not get disillusioned. If we understand we're in a process of tremendous change and difficulty for the next couple of months, we can stick to what's important, try and focus on the real issues, and do less war and mudslinging, and not allow our fears to take advantage of us. Time to talk about you and your month ahead. And we start as usual with the cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Well, the theme for cardinal signs this month is all about money and resources and whatever you might be depending on that comes from you or other people like that. Basically, this is the month to sort out your securities, sort out where you stand, sort out what your financial situation is in time for the developments that will happen in the month afterwards. It's mostly important not to get into reckless spending or impulsive spending this month, and that's especially true for Aries. Aries, this is a month of unexpected expenses, and while that's true for all the cardinal signs, so do bear that in mind, Aries seems to be having trouble controlling what you're doing about that. So don't rush into anything or feel pressured into anything like that. This is a time when you actually need to be trying to think ahead a little bit. one of the issues, Aries, with the financial matters this month is that you might not be charging enough, or you might just be being a little bit slack and impatient and basically allowing people to get away with not really paying you, or not collecting, or just getting slack and think, well, I'll just leave it to next month. Mostly those things are inconsequential, but not this month. This month you really do need to be paying attention to that. So important to make sure that you get paid what you're worth, and when you get paid on time, and any financial lack by the end of this month kind of is your fault. So make sure that you are taking care of the books yourself, making sure that you are asserting what you're worth yourself, and you won't have that issue by the end of the month. Cancerians, well, things at home continue to be the source of comfort and security. And if this is a financially challenging month for the cardinal signs, then that can only be a good thing. But you also need to look at how relationships at home and with people in the home might be affecting that sense of financial security. So whether that's actually people in the home or other relatives, you Cancerians love your family, and that's a great thing. But sometimes family are like the rest of them, and some people might be trying to take advantage of you. So don't be shy to put in good family boundaries right now, and make sure that you're not being taken advantage of or exploited because of your ability to take care of people and your need to do that. And quite frankly, there are good things going on in your life, and you might feel a very strong instinct to take care of family and beloveds. So for family matters, Cancerians, this is the time to concentrate on the children and the grandchildren. Yes, children can be an expensive thing, can be a drain of your financial resources, but usually when it comes to children, you're in charge. So for matters family in general, you need to be a little bit more tight and boundaried with your own resources, but you can put your energy into the youngsters in the family. Librans, well, also might be in a bit of a dependent situation at the moment when it comes to family or loved ones and things like that. And what your chart is suggesting is there isn't that much you can do about it. For you, this isn't so much a matter of boundaries, but you do need to look carefully at your securities and how they relate to your partner and other members of your family, and just being clear that everything is more fair and balanced. So it looks like matters at home need to be clarified, whether we're talking about resources like that, or whether we're talking about simply the fact that matters at home mean you're being seen as selfish and you seeing yourself as unselfish, and you just need to be clarifying those matters a little bit better and bringing everything into a better state of peace and harmony, as I suggested. You also need to look at the value issue that I was talking to Aries about, and making sure that you're properly valued in your relationships at the moment. You could certainly be giving too much, or feel that you're giving too much, and now that you realize that perhaps it's seen a little bit differently from the other side, a little bit of negotiation and peace finding. So instead of fighting about resources, sort out how you are being seen and how you're seeing yourself in the partnership. It could save a lot of trouble and hassle and help you come to a much more secure situation as the month goes forward. Bottom line is, reflect on the last month, see what you've been doing that got you into situations that caused you to be resentful, and make sure you don't do anything like that in the month ahead. For Capricorns, there is quite a go ahead and do it going on, but cash might be a bit of a problem. As you've been hearing, cardinal signs are kind of dependent on others at the moment, or needing to look at those interdependent financial and security relationships, and that might be some inhibition on you going ahead and being able to follow your own goals and something like that. So, well, it is a good month for taking risks for Capricorn. So to you, I can say, well, take some risks. It's not all about being absolutely secure before anything goes ahead. Something has shifted for you, and you're actually getting into a much stronger position. And in fact, over the next month, that might even go further. So take a few risks, and don't be shy to draw on the people that are around you who can actually open doors for you. there are certainly ways when influential and important people can be in our lives without the need for anything under the counter or corrupt or behind the scenes. So sometimes, like it is now, it's a function of your going forward in the world, that you now have doors and avenues open to you that actually weren't really there before. So that's what you need to take a little bit of risk in order to take advantage of. Doesn't mean it's going to come easy. Capricorns look like you might have some difficult choices and difficult decisions ahead of you, and kind of might have to be a little bit more businesslike and a little bit less sympathetic. Something which traditionally is supposed to suit Capricorns. So certainly don't be shy to take those steps ahead. Don't be shy to assert what's beneficial to you from others, but still expect that your ability to make progress is a little bit limited by the lack of resources, and it might take a couple of months for that to actually come through. For the fixed signs, which are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, this is a month about stepping back. Taurians recognize the theme coming on and off throughout the year, this year, and hopefully you're seeing the benefits from that. All the fixed signs this month need to look at the benefits of kind of standing back a little bit and allowing things to unfold, especially plans and seeds that have been laid. This is the month to be a little bit careful and strategic, not rush anything, and allow things to unfold in their own space. Especially since Taurus, right now the people around you are just no help at all. So you really have to concentrate on your own resources and your own methods and your own path, because in terms of business and acquaintances and so on, there's not much benefit coming to you from the world around you. The same is not true for your personal relationships. There we do see benefits, and in fact if you concentrate on your one-to-one relationships, what comes to you through your important one-to-one relationships, it's a much more beneficial time. And that doesn't only mean resources or money or things which make you secure. Hey, it's the relationship itself. This is a great time for relationship building and for actually benefiting from the partnership. What is important about that is that some of the benefits in this relationship and in any other one-to-one relationships other than personal ones, some of those benefits are not quite exactly what you thought, which is a good thing. So you need to break down some of your expectations and allow your partner to offer benefits, etc., on their own terms, or the exchange that naturally happens in a relationship on their own terms in some way. But for the most part, this is a great time for all trusted relationships. And in terms of trusted relationships, those are the resources that you can benefit from. Not what anyone has to offer you, even your partners, money or actual resources. We'll talk about that next month. But people as a resource and loved ones as a resource, great time for that. You can rely on them. For Leos, also a lot of kind of solo work happening. Remember, you're in the fixed family that is in a little bit of a hold back and pull back this month. And it looks like for Leos, it's kind of get behind the scenes, put your nose to the grindstone and get cracking on a whole lot of work, because it does look like it's a month of hard work for you, with seemingly, as far as you're concerned, not necessarily that much to show for it. Well, even still, that hard work is a worthwhile investment, because in the months ahead, there will be much more to show for it. So that's why it's kind of, see it as you are your own resources at the moment. You're building your own resources at the moment, and you're going to benefit from that in the months ahead. There are also partnership matters that show that at this time, you might not be ensuring that partnerships are equal. Business partnerships, that's more important than anywhere else, of course. But in terms of all partnerships, bring it back into balance, because it does look like you're coming off a little bit second best at the moment. Bottom line is that this is really the month of your work. You pull behind the scenes, do that work. Things are going to work much better for you that way. For Scorpio, well, Scorpio has a month of new possibilities and new things going on, and although it's not as behind the scenes as everyone else, you still need to be a little bit strategic. I mean, quite frankly, it's still another month to go before you fully are seeing the results of your efforts and the benefits and comebacks from everything you might have been expecting along the way. So the strategic time at this time is to gather in your resources. Again, not really depending on others, but looking at in terms of yourself and what's available to you, what resources you need to bring in, what you need to do to ensure that come October, you're in a much better position to operate. Be strategic, gather in your resources, think ahead, and it's going to work out in the long run. For Aquarius, well, Aquarius also has a behind the scenes month and something that you don't usually have a problem with. True, you are one of the officially social signs, sign of friendships and all of those kinds of things, but a little bit of time behind the scenes is even necessary at this time because it also looks like you might be being taken advantage of in a little bit of some of your personal relationships or something like that, or just feeling that there's some unfinished business that needs to be done. Hey, that's exactly what it is. There is indeed some unfinished business that needs a little bit of attention, and there might even be old baggage cropping up and old stuff coming back to haunt you in some way. So this is the time to deal with that, deal with what's been worrying you for a while but you haven't really been paying attention to, whether that's old baggage or things that kind of been swept under the carpet and didn't seem so important to you. They've become important now. So this is a kind of a clear out time. You can also work it as a 2-month strategy like Scorpio is doing, in the sense that this is the strategic month where you need to figure out what you've got to do, identify what's not working for you, what is old baggage or unfinished business, identify those things and plan a kind of 2-month strategy for getting those things increasingly behind you. And then once we're into October, things are looking where you actually are moving on because you're beginning to leave things behind you. So clearing up of old baggage, always a good thing to do in a behind the scenes kind of month. When it comes to the mutable signs this month, well, it's good news because Virgo, the birthday month, you're having a birthday this month if you're a Virgo. Virgo is a mutable sign, and Virgo is going to be able to be in the get ahead sense. So Geminis, I'll get back to you in a second, but let me say happy birthday to the Virgos, and good to know there's lots going on in your life and lots of possibility lying ahead of you in your life at this time. This is a month for getting things into action. Well, being your birthday right now, you might realize then it's best to wait till a little bit after your birthday. Usually the weeks leading up to our birthday are quite a low point, and it might be hard to get things going despite what I'm suggesting is going on in your particular chart at the moment. But once you pass the birthday, it's getting a little bit faster. There is generally a positive trend for Virgos that looks like this is the time when you can make things happen. However, your own expectations might defeat you, especially if you are expecting someone or others in some way to be on the same page as you and help along and provide what you need, and off you go. So it's a little bit of a selfish month in that regard, not in terms of loved ones and friends or anything like that. That is going to work for you better, and that's where at the personal level you can expect some better support. But in terms of your goals in life, that's not going to be nearly as easy. So manage your own expectations better. There are warnings of being disappointed because you've invested your energy into others at this time. So putting your energy into your own things where you have to depend on others, looking very carefully to see that you are benefiting in the way that you are supposed to, the contract is supposed to go, and like that you'll finally find that you make a lot of progress by the time the full month has passed. So absolutely go for it, Virgos, on your birthday month. Gemini is said to be the sign that loves change, and there do seem to be a lot of changes happening in your personal life, especially in your domestic environment, whether it's home and it's a renovation time for you, or a moving time, even a traveling time, or someone is moving in or out or something like that. You know, for some of you, and maybe it's just a small little portion, because this can't be applying to all of us. But for those of you who are in a situation where a relationship is developing and you're wondering, is the next step coming? I'm here to say this is a good time to be moving in together. But of course, you need to have had some time to get to know each other. It won't automatically apply to everyone. But what the chart is really talking about is getting your emotional life and your domestic life in sync. The changes that are happening are a great opportunity to do that. Worst case scenario, it's time for some people to leave, or some adjustment to whatever's happening in the home, or the home itself needs to change. But more likely, it's really talking about rebalancing relationships in the home or the domestic space, with just kind of making space work for you better. Clear out space, or ask yourself the kind of philosophical question, who's in my space? Who's interfering with my space? It's this idea of space that's really going to work for you. So concentrating on allowing it to change, using the opportunity to clear out, and realizing once you've got rid of your baggage in that kind of way, also a great month for going ahead. But concentrate on personal relationships, because those are going to be the most rewarding things in your life at this time. Sagittarius, well, it looks like things are booming. Business is booming and things are picking up for you quite rapidly, and you might even be able to recoup some financial resources at this time. It looks like you've been spending a lot, and at the moment in your chart there's a lot coming in, but there's still a lot going out. So it does look like you need to pay a little bit more attention to that and try and manage your financial resources better. But hey, you like risks and you like new things, and this is definitely a month when those things are possible, especially in professional life. But be aware that things are going to go more slowly than you think they're going to go. There seem to be some kinds of limitations or obstacles still coming from other people that now affect your professional life, and you are cautioned against getting into conflict. If you do this slowly and carefully, you can be the better person and be in a stronger position to make this actually work in ways that suit you best. If necessary, you might need to take authority or put your foot down or step up to the plate in some kind of way, but don't let that run away with you. That does not put you into the all-powerful position of telling everyone else what to do, because conflict management and that kind of stress management between people is very much the careful, pay attention to, don't mess it up department of your chart as well. For Pisces, most sensitive of all the signs, your sensitivity is at a peak, and that for Pisces means your boundaries are down and there's possibly someone trying to take advantage of you, but not in any kind of overwhelming way. You're not in a weak position. Like the other mutable signs this month, you're in a pretty strong position, and actually with a bit more selfishness or better boundaries, you can assert what you're trying to do and what you need at the moment. The problem is that you're very good at putting other people's needs before your own, or worse, making sacrifices for other people. It might feel to you as if you need to give more than you're capable of, and that's a really good sign to look at yourself, to draw the boundary, and to ask yourself the questions of, where have I been making unnecessary sacrifices? Because you're going to feel demanded and pulled on at this time. You'll find if you put your good boundaries in place at this time, be clear, and don't operate in order to try and keep people happy. Rather operate openly to try and make the relationship more equitable, more fair and balanced, where both of you are getting the same level of benefit and happiness and so on. Your partner wants the same thing. The good thing to hear in this is that this is actually a good time for relationships, not a bad time. The challenge is to you to make sure that your boundaries are in place and that you're not giving more than you're actually capable of giving. Rein it in, you'll be stronger, the relationship will be stronger, and you'll have a great month. But there are also more personal things to astrology, whether you're seeing an astrologer for a personal consultation or you just want to ask me a question right here on Rod Suskins World. And so I have a question this week, and this is from you, Rose. And you're a Pisces, and in fact what I was saying applies quite well to you, although I'm working from your personal chart and what your personal chart has to say in answer to the question. You're in a relationship. It's a reasonably new relationship, but it's been going very well and the connection between you is good. You have some physical issues that create some insecurities for you. And your question is, you are wondering whether this is the time to take the next step in your relationship, share that with your partner, or whether that's too much of a risk and you should continue managing the relationship in the way that it's been. Well, Rose, you heard me say about Pisces, this is the time to not give too much and not make unnecessary sacrifices. Your chart says that's what you're doing. You're busy making a sacrifice, and it's so not necessary. In fact, Rose, if you deal with your so-called secret and share it in the relationship, at this time it's going to bring you closer. It makes for a much bigger bond, and in fact doesn't have any of the ramifications or fears that you are concerned with. It's a great time to be taking the next step. You mentioned that you've been thinking of moving in the not too distant future, even changing cities. It's looking great in your chart. Remember what I was saying to Pisces: be selfish, bring things into balance, operate from what you need in the relationship. You know that you need to be operating from a place of honesty. You're ready to take a relationship to another level. This is absolutely the time to go ahead and do that. So like you heard me say for Pisces, be clear, don't try and keep everyone happy, keep yourself happy, and the relationship is the thing that will benefit. Remember, if you have a question, send me an email to this address or contact me on my website over here. Of course, I'll be here next Friday on YouTube at noon, on Cape Town Television, 7:30 p.m. Friday night, repeating Sunday at 1:30. See you there.